everybody. So this is an instructional video on how to complete the 5.08 discussion Newsroom Reinvented. So for this assignment, you are going to take your 4.05 news article and you're going to be doing some enhancements to it basically. There's two parts to this assignment. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to post your news article to the discussion board. And before you post it, you are going to actually add some pictures. You're going to add any headlines you want. You're going to add any bylines. So basically what you're doing here is you're making it look all pretty, as you consider it. You're giving it all the glamour and all the cool stuff to add to it just to make it look aesthetically appealing to your reader. So whatever that means for you is whatever that means for you. So if you want to separate it up into sections, if you want to make it, if you want to put some graphics in there, if you want to put photographs, whatever you choose to do, it's your choice. So after you do that, you're going to submit it to the discussion board. So once you submit it to the discussion board, you are going to have a list of peer review checklists that you're going to use. All right. So for this, what you're going to do is you are going to have 4 areas that you are going to peer edit for your fellow classmates. Okay, so, and I'm going to try and explain this as simply as I can, so not to confuse you. Okay, so we're going to cover these in just a second, but I want to kind of discuss with you how you're going to use these. So there's 4 areas. There's an assignment editor, a visual design layout, a copy editor, and an ombudsman. Okay, so let's say that we have 4 people in our classroom who have submitted their articles, and I'm going into peer edit. So let's say that Sarah has posted her article. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to edit for Sarah. So I'm like, I'm going to be the assignment editor for Sarah. So I'm going to read Sarah's article and I'm going to answer and evaluate all of these questions for Sarah. Then let's say Seth also has his article in the discussion board. So I'm going to be the assignment editor for Sarah, but I'm not also going to be her visual design editor. Someone else is going to do that for her. So I'm going to look at Seth's article and then I'm going to pop down and I'm going to be his visual design and layout editor. So then let's say Kelly has posted her article and I'm going to be her copy editor. And then let's say George also has his articles and I'm going to be his ombudsman. So the key to this is that as an editor for your fellow classmates, you are not going to pick one student and do all 4 of these. You are going to pick 4 separate students and pick one for each of the separate 4 students you are going to be editing for. So one of the important things to remember for this is that, let's say Sarah had 2 people already do peer review checklists for her. Well, I probably don't want to be the 3rd person doing that. So maybe I'll pick visual editor design layout for her. So that way she's getting a well-rounded edit from our class. If we're all picking peer edit, then we're not really helping her in these other 3 areas. So it's to our benefit and to her benefit that we are picking different things to edit on. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I do want to briefly go over each of these sections, and I'm not going to go over them in depth and detail because we are going to talk about this in a live session. But as an assignment editor, you're looking at some basic things. Basically, news values, is it interesting, the who, why, who, what, where, when, and how, and then is anything confusing? Are there any clarity issues or some things missing? Maybe like more information in an interview, things like that. So it's really not going to be a lengthy process. However, what I want to emphasize is don't say, oh, it's great. It may be great, but if it's great, you tell them why it's great. And if it's not great, then you start offering that constructive criticism. And there should be a lot of suggestions. So, as someone getting your article reviewed, you want to make sure that you're taking it as constructive criticism, that everyone is helping you, that no one is like picking on you or trying to like make your article any less than it is. Every piece of criticism for our class is only to help you grow as a writer. So take it in stride and take it as like as a learning point and definitely as something that's beneficial for you. Because obviously, if they're helping you, it's going to make your grade better in the end when you're turning this in. So visual design, this is something that a lot of us probably haven't really thought about. And so this is what, before you are actually submitting your article to be peer reviewed, you are going to be adding these things. So you're looking at things like, is it too long or too short? Does it need to be broken up into little paragraphs? Um, are there headlines or headings? Are there graphs, cartoons, any type of photos? Are they relevant to the story? Are they irrelevant to the story? What specific information are they adding to the story? Like I said, subheadings, and then is it the proper structure that is beneficial for whatever story that you've written? So, copy editor, basically, this is what you think about when you think of an editor. It's kind of making those suggestions for corrections, spelling, all that type of stuff. So, are the headings interesting? Why did you choose those headings? Why is it appropriate or effective for the story? Spelling, grammatical errors, are names correct, which you may not necessarily know if names and dates are correct, but you may think, oh, well, they're missing this person's name that they interviewed. So suggest, hey, add their name. And you want to add those things. Locations. Is the story clearly written? Does it make sense? I know sometimes when we're writing our own stories, like it sounds right in our minds and our heads, but then when someone else reads it or they read it aloud, you're like, my goodness, what in the heck was I thinking? So you kind of are asking that question, does it make sense as you're reading it? And the fourth and final thing is an ombudsman. And basically, this has to do with you being a journalist and being impartial. So, is the story fair and tasteful? Does it take into account all perspectives of those involved? Is it balanced? So, basically, and I've sent a video for this, but in these stories, you are staying away from I, because as a journalist, you should not be putting yourself into a story. So if someone is saying I, me, we, you as a peer editor are going to want to respond to that. You're going to want to say, being a journalist, you want to make sure to keep yourself out of the story. So you should be sure to be writing in third person. So that's something that you could critique in that if you're doing the ombudsman that you would want to look for. What might have a problem with the story, and what do you think they would have as a valid point? Is there anything the writer of the story could include to make it more accurate? So is there anything that you feel like they're missing? Are all sides represented? And then do you think the writer reveals any personal bias? So if you are seeing them giving their opinion, or if you see them writing anything that's pulling toward one side or the other, you're going to want to speak up and let them know what you think that is, and even offer suggestions on how they can change that possibly. Okay. So just to recap, very important, before you submit, you have to go in and make those changes to your own article. If you have not written the article yet, you cannot do this assignment. So it's super important that you have 4.05 complete before you even attempt this, okay? And it's not a separate news article. It is your same news article that you wrote in 4.05. So you're taking 4.05 and you are fancying it up. So you can break it into smaller paragraphs, you can add subheadings, you can add pictures, you can do whatever you need to do. So that's number one. Then you need four more things. One, two, three, and four. So you have five components total for this assignment. Okay. If you have questions, please let me know and I would be happy to help you.